Feeling outrage and grief after witnessing news accounts of some of the treatment of veterans and those who care for them during the pandemic, Cummington musician Laura Wetzler decided to write, direct, produce, and score her own homegrown indie film entitled What Happened at the Veterans Home. The fictional drama depicts the story of a disabled veteran, her nurse daughter, and a CNA worker caught in the center of a pandemic nursing home tragedy. The Call to Action film is an official selection at 25 international film festivals and has won numerous awards. I talked with Wetzler to learn more about the film.
Well, like everyone else, it just came out of being horrified, and I don't sit well with being upset. And as an artist, as a musician, as a writer, it's part of how we cope with things, is to try and make something out of it that can possibly inspire people or at least reflect what's going on.
The fictional drama tells the story about a veteran, her nurse daughter, and a CNA worker who are all in the middle of a pandemic healthcare tragedy. How were you able to authentically portray these characters? What kind of research went into creating them?
Well, I spoke to a lot of folks. I spoke to veterans. I spoke to healthcare workers, and healthcare workers have been very vocal about what they've been through. They've been crying out to all of us, So it's not as if it's a surprise. Of many of them are suffering from PTSD. They felt some of them are being attacked. I mean, it's just been really, really difficult for them. So I spoke to a lot of people.
And I know that this is an all-female cast in the film. What was it that made you want to depict the story from that perspective? Was there anything that went behind that? What went into the creation of the characters?
Well, I just felt like people expect a story about a veteran to be a male veteran, and the fact is many women have served in the American military for the last 250 years, and many women of color have served in the military for the last 250 years in various as nurses, in various ways, and I just thought that it was an opportunity to be able to really change people's stereotype about what a veteran looks like.
And throughout the film, there are many recognizable locations in the region. Tell me more about where the film was shot, and also, more importantly, how was it filming something amidst the pandemic itself?
It was very challenging. I wrote the script in 2020. The month of June, I finished it July 4th. We auditioned and started rehearsals by Zoom with actors in August, and we shot over only 8 days in September, 2 days each actor, 5 scenes over the course of 2 days for each actress. Finding locations was really challenging. We didn't feel safe being too many of us indoors. We had to shoot from distances. We had to be creative about how we shot safely. We shot in Florence, around Northampton, in Greenfield, in Agawam, and in Holyoke. And one day we went to the park in Holyoke there, and along the canals, that beautiful park along the canal. And the day before I went there, and it looked like the Seine. The water was beautiful. It looked like and then we show up to shoot, and the canal had been drained. And so we were like, oh my God, there was all this construction going on. So we just used it. We took shots of what we saw. We just immediately clicked into how can we use this creatively to illustrate some of what was going on in the script.
Well, and I was going to say, I saw some of those creative shots with the canal drained, and I think it worked beautifully with the film. And I think the other thing, how you were able to be so creative without having the actors interact with each other. Like you said, you were filming separately, but it still told the story. Was this something that you've ever ventured into before, or is this your first time creating a film?
This is my first film, but I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm a professional musician. I normally tour in about 100 dates a year. I'm a writer, so I'm accustomed to writing, but I wrote this first as a play. And so the idea is that these women are being interviewed by a journalist like yourself who is asking them questions about what happened to them. And so it looks a lot like a documentary. But I had never written a play before. I had never done a film before. But we knew that we couldn't put on a play in the middle of COVID. And I thought that making a film would be the only way to really capture it.
The film has already won numerous awards, including Best Screenplay in Paris and Best Feature in Athens, and that's just to name a few. It's also an official selection at 25 international film festivals, so congratulations for that achievement. What does this mean for you as an artist to have this film receive all of this great recognition?
Well, we're very proud of the whole team because we were a very small team. I mean, I laugh sometimes when I look at the credits of big Hollywood movies, and there are hundreds and hundreds of people. It was 4 actresses, me, Jared Skolnick, who is the director of photography and worked on the edit with me, and a sound guy, and it was just very, very small team working on this. So I'm really, really proud.
As I mentioned before, we all heard about the different accounts happening around the world. And especially it hit close to home locally with the tragedy at the Holyoke Soldiers Home. I have to say, though, myself watching this film, it really hit differently, just hearing and seeing the characters. What is it about art that is able to kind of elicit this different emotional response from others and even provoke change?
Part of why I wrote it is because I was so upset with this. The statistics were so enormous, and it's so hard to relate to numbers. I know folks who are living in facilities, and I was horrified that it felt like the leaders thought somehow that these people were disposable. And they're not. They are our mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters. They are us, And so I felt like I wanted to give those numbers some humanity, so that we could relate to the tragedy in a different kind of way.
Well, and the film is heartbreaking, but yet hopeful at the same time. And you describe it as a call to action. What would you love for viewers to take away after watching this film?
My feeling is that we're all responsible for taking care of each other, and that we have to figure out as a society, how are we going to create supportive environments where we can take care of the most vulnerable family members, lovers, partners, parents. We have to, as a society, figure out how to do this. It's not just pointing fingers at people. Institutions are really hard, but we've got to be more creative. We've got to figure out, we cannot let the most vulnerable people in our society get tossed away when we're in trouble. People are not disposable, period,
And to that point, at the film's premiere on Sunday, March 20th, a portion of each ticket sold will be donated to 2 organizations, Soldier On and the National Association of Black Military Women. Why did you choose these 2 organizations in particular? And tell me about the importance of having this be an aspect of the film premiere.
Well, I did a lot of research about who was doing what locally, and I loved the work that Soldiers On was doing in terms of housing homeless vets and doing a tremendous amount of counseling services. So I thought, as a local organizations, wesoldieron.org people should check it out. They're a wonderful not-for-profit organization. And then the National Association of Black Military Women is also an incredible organization, and they maintain a beautiful website with the history of Black women in the military. And I studied from that website. I learned a lot, and I used it as research to make the film. And I felt I really owed payback to this wonderful organization that many people are not aware of. People don't even know of this organization, and people should. It's a great organization.